for the Day is a unique combination of innovation, courage, and leadership, who helped transform the dream of India's first integrated hardware-software technology park 22 years back, Technopark, currently India's third largest IT park. So let's talk to the ex-CEO of Technopark, Mr. VIJAYARAGHAVAN, sir. So what made you take up the challenge of setting up Technopark 22 years back?
Mr. K.P. Nambia was the advisor to the government at that time, and Srimati Gauriamma was the minister. It was based on their discussions with me that I decided to come. Remember, I was about 31 years old at that time, and it was a challenge, and it was always a big privilege to work with people like that. That's why I took it on. But it was not Technopark. The name Technopark was not there. Actually, the objective was to look at electronics and software industry coming to Kerala, and how could we do that. That is how it all started. And there was a decision to set up an organization which was called the Electronic Technology Parks Kerala, which even today is the official name of Technopark. Technopark was the brand that got created with that, and we actually called it Technopark, the world's greenest electronics technopolis. That's how we started off.
22 years back, no one could have thought that IT would groom or boom like this. But still, you all went ahead and set it up. So how many companies were there? How many people did you approach for it?
When we started, the term IT itself was not there. It was electronics and software. That's how we used to term it. Also, the objective which was set initially was that we need to look at 5,000 people working from this park. It's not the first IT company, it was the first technology park in the country. In fact, the first technology park in the South Asian region. And the objective was 5,000 direct jobs, 20,000 indirect jobs. And a lot of people said that people are dreaming, it won't work. But I think when you look back, so sometime in the early 90s that we started, if you look back today, you see that it's much, much more than that. There are about 40,000 plus people. I think in another year or two, it will be about 60,000 people. So I think the objectives that were set were there. But why Kerala is because Kerala always had an advantage for people working in the software sector. Kerala always had an advantage for anything which had to do with knowledge, high skills. And that is why we decided to set it up at that time.
22 years back, the infrastructure was all different. Government, the way government worked, the ways people work, thought, everything was different long back. So what all the changes that you see from then, now in Technopark?
No, well, basically one of the things which was very clear at that time, and which was what Srimati Gauriamma and subsequently Mr. Kunyalikutti agreed to, was that government would give Technopark the freedom to work, and that I think every successive government has kept that promise. Technopark, at least during my time, was given total freedom. We never came back to government except on matters relating to me. If I had to travel abroad, it needed government approval. But everything else, the Technopark board and the CEO had the powers to do. That's one. The second thing is, you should also remember it was a time when nobody knew what this whole thing was. So there is something which we jokingly say, a lot of people did not know what was happening, and they said that let's not bother about what we don't know about, and that's how it came about. But the fact is that it brought about a big change in the way people work in Kerala. It brought about a big change from the culture, in the work culture in Kerala. Mainly because in Trivandrum, for example, it was a 10 to 5 with multiple coffee breaks and lunch breaks. That changed to this thing where you work, and as you work, you get rewarded. So that was a big change. When I first came in 1990, everyone was looking at how could one get a job in government?
Yeah.
How could one get a job in Keltron? 15, 20 years later, people are not looking at that. People are looking at how do I get a job in a good company at Technopark.
True.
So I think that is a big change that was there. Another interesting story which I have repeated several times is in 97, just as I was leaving Technopark and I was working with one of the companies there to help them set up the company, I get a call from a father, middle class father, who says that his daughter has got a job with one of the companies there. I said, it's a good company. He says, yes, but do you know the people who run it? I said, yes, I've helped them set it up. And he said, we have a problem. So I asked, what is it? He says, my daughter has been asked to get a passport. And if she gets a passport, she will have to travel abroad.
True.
So we are asking her to resign the job. 1997. And I said, don't tell her to resign. When she's asked to go and you don't want to send her, you can make a call, but not today. 2007, around that time, I get a call from another father, probably both of them working in the same kind of an organization. And he tells me, do you know this company? And incidentally, it's the same company. And he says, my daughter's got a job there. She's been working there for a year now. She has her passport, but the company has not sent her abroad so far. And I laughed. And he said, why are you laughing? I said, I'm coming telling you something serious and you're laughing. And I said, how can I not laugh? 10 years ago, I have probably one of your colleagues who comes up with the same problem, but with a completely different view to it.
True.
That's the kind of change that Technopark has brought about for the way the Malayali looks at things.
Since you have to hold up so many companies together under one single umbrella, and you again have the term harmony at work, so how do we ensure that the harmony is maintained all through?
No, one thing from the beginning, Technopark was decided to be only a facilitator.
Yes.
Technopark does not get involved in the operations of any company. Every company has the freedom to operate the way it does. Every company has the freedom to employ the kind of people it wants. In fact, in a great way, we have insulated a lot of the environment from the Technopark companies, so that the Technopark companies have the freedom to work. And when you look at it, what companies want is the freedom to work, the freedom to have policies which they do, as long as they are not anti-national, anti-worker problems. There's no problems there. So that is something which has helped the companies in Technopark do well. They are protected from the problems that you see outside. Typical examples were in 1992, 93, when the first 93, 94, when the first company started operating from Technopark. Outside Technopark, you want a telephone line, you had to wait for 2 years.
Yes.
In Technopark, you would get the telephone line on the first day.
True.
The day you asked for it, you would get it. Outside, you took a long time to get your electrical connection. You would get electrical connection on the day you asked for it. There was practically zero bandwidth today. Today, on the phone, you get very large bandwidth.
True.
The highest bandwidth available from any point in the country at that point of time was 64 kbps. And Technopark had a massive earth station which we set up, a satellite earth station, at a cost of about 3 crores, was set up to give us 64 kbps connectivity to any company that wanted it from Trivandrum. And that was one of the big advantages that we had. So we created an island within Trivandrum of where a lot of things were completely different. People got the same environment that they got anywhere else in the world, and they were comparing what they got at Technopark to places in Singapore or in California, and they were very happy about it. And that is why the first company started coming in.
Initially, there was some kind of marketing that would pull in more and more companies in Technopark?
Oh, the marketing strategy was very, I would say we worked a lot. There are many people who helped us in that. When we started, before we had even the first building in, we had full page advertisements in the Times of India and the Economic Times and large newspapers talking about the world's greenest electronics technopolis. And that was the objective. We wanted to make it green. It still is green, which attracted some attention. The second thing is there were several road shows that were done. There were contacts with companies which were established. And a lot of the companies you see today came in as part of that marketing strategy which was there.
Okay, so do you help them setting up the new business areas or?
Oh, when I was in Technopark during that period, initially getting people here itself was a big problem. Getting a company. So some of the first companies, if you talk to, they will remember that we helped them with their gas connection, we helped them with the admissions for their children in schools, we helped them in recruiting people. So basically it was a total support which was given. Today the environment is much different, there is a big ecosystem around, you don't need to provide these kind of services. But at that time all this were provided. So those who came in were very happy. We provided them a small office room in the park center that you have today, and they would pay, I think, 3,000 rupees a month for that. And they all thought it was a very good deal. And some of the big companies you see today started off from those small offices which you see on the first floor of the park center.
When a company starts in Technopark, they give equal importance to the local people over there and also to create a diversified cultural area. So how was Technopark helping in that as well?
No, like I said, Technopark doesn't interfere with the way companies work. But most companies want to have a diverse, they want diversity in their employment, in the employees that they have. So you will find that automatically you will have large companies which come in and they bring people from outside. So that big change you will see. So in a way, what ISRO did to Trivandrum, or the Vikram Sarabhai Space Center did to Trivandrum several decades ago, I think Technopark has been doing to Trivandrum over the last 2.5 decades.
The 7 years that you spent with Technopark, do you want to say something brief, like how was the 7 years?
I think it was enjoyable. There was a team of 11 people. You should remember that the whole Technopark was set up by 11 people. And if one asks what was the contribution, I think the biggest contribution was the change in the way people work. And that, I think, continues to be the biggest contribution that is there. There's a lot of satisfaction to see large companies which were set up at that time, small companies set up at that time become large companies today. Companies who have become global, companies who today are recognized nationally and internationally as product companies, companies like Suntech, IBS, USD Global, Toons Animation, Allianz, all these are global brands. When I left, I think we had proved everything that was there. We proved that international companies could come in, we proved that national companies could come in, we proved that local entrepreneurs could be done, NRIs had come and set up companies. So overall the challenge on what was there was over, and I decided to move out.
So still you do consultancy for the companies or IT companies that are coming up. So what are all the messages that you want to give back to any new entrepreneur?
Well, we consult, we help setting up of organizations. I've not been doing much of it recently, but we do that. We help in restructuring organizations. But one of the big messages, setting up a software company is the easiest thing that is there. But keeping that company going is the toughest thing that is there. So if you don't know the business, if you don't know where you're going to get the market, don't start a software company. But if you know these, then it is probably one of the best businesses that you can get into. The big thing is market. Setting up is very easy. I mean, a lot of people have done it, they've set it up, but you need to follow certain principles, get those things in place, and you will get the company going. NIST is a National Institute of Speech and Hearing in Trivandrum. It was set up in 1997. One of the problems that happens is we have a lot of sympathy for it. I think it's not sympathy. We have to give them opportunity, we have to empower them, and once we empower them, they will perform like anybody else. We hope it becomes a university for persons with disabilities in a few years' time.